Well, as Lord Patten attempts to contain the crisis at the BBC, another Lord is presiding over the fallout from the last media storm. Lord Justice Leveson, the judge inquiring into phone hacking, is set to deliver his findings in the next few weeks. Well, now, leaked reports suggest he will recommend more state regulation of the written press and possible fines for newspapers who upset the regulator. But even before the judge reveals his final recommendations, editors and politicians have started to question the ideas being suggested. The Home Secretary was asked today if she shared opposition to some Conservative ministers against tighter state regulation of the press.
You're quoted in one of the papers, the Mail on Sunday, as being among the Cabinet Ministers who really don't want to see statutory regulation of the British press. Is that right?
Well, I've said, and I said indeed in my evidence to Leveson, that I thought it was important that we retain a free press. I'm not going to say whether I'm for statutory regulation or not, because I'm actually one of the recipients of the Leveson report. So together with Maria Miller, the DCMS Secretary, we are the people to whom Leveson would be reporting. So I don't think it's right for us to prejudge at this stage.
Well, no, in a speech to newspaper editors tonight, Lord Hunt, the chair of the Press Complaints Commission, said he was not gunning for a fight with Lord Leveson, despite the imminent replacement of the PPC. Well, our Home Affairs correspondent Andy Davis joins us now from Belfast, where that speech was being made. Andy, well, you're with what we used to call Fleet Street many moons ago. What are they making, first of all, of the Director-General of the BBC's resignation? Sidebar issue or centre stage?
I think fairly centre stage, actually, Alex. I've just come from the drinks reception before Lord Hunt's speech, and it was certainly providing a great deal of material for the pre-conference chit-chat, not least because the president of the Society of Editors happens to be a BBC bigwig called Fran Unsworth, who's head of BBC News Gathering. She was supposed to be here tonight, presiding over this. She's had to go back to London, we've been told, to supervise her team at the BBC. So it's having a big impact. Ironic, isn't it, that as the newspaper industry gathers for its last big conference before Lord Justice Leveson hands down what will undoubtedly be a damning verdict on their conduct over the last 10 years, it's the conduct of the broadcasting industry which is stealing the headlines. Did I detect a hint of Schadenfreude in there as one embattled press industry, slated over its ethical conduct, looks at its broadcasting equivalents being laid low? Well, perhaps, as one delegate put it to me, there will be a certain amount of point scoring going on over the next few days.
But at the end of the day, does the departure of a broadcasting leader, George Entwistle, as Director-General of the BBC, impact in any way over Lord Justice Leveson and the newspapers and the print media? It's a different world, different universe, right or wrong?
Well, wrong, I think, because I think it's going to be... It's difficult to say exactly what impact it will have, but it will certainly feature in the debate. Because, you know, it's really interesting. In the last few weeks, there have been very vociferous campaigns on both sides of whether there should be state regulation of the press or not. And you speak to the press industry tonight, and figures there were saying to me, look at the BBC, it has a form of state regulation, it's basically imploding. As one former newspaper editor put it, look at how MPs have swarmed in to call for the heads of BBC individuals. So I think it's going to be used now by newspaper industry to argue against any form of statutory regulation.
I'm going to have to close you down there. We're out of time, I'm afraid, Andy.